True Crime Psychic Eye revisits unexplained mysteries and unsolved missing persons cases from a new perspective, the insight of a psychic medium.
My name is Maryam and I am a psychic medium. Welcome to True Crime Psychic Eye. As a medium, there's no guarantee you will connect with every person in every family in every case. We specifically chose cases that I felt a connection to, that I felt like I could be of service in some way. We seek to do this with the utmost integrity and in serving those families and the loved ones that have passed.
This is the story of Ben McDaniel. On August 20th, 2010, the dive shop employees at Vortex Spring, north of Ponce de Leon, Florida, noticed the car of Ben McDaniel still in their parking lot after 2 days. They last saw him on August 18th as they were coming back from a dive and he was going into the cave. He has been seen as a regular diver there, having moved into his parents' beach house. His family in Tennessee convinced him to take a sabbatical there after his divorce, failed business, and the death of his younger brother Paul 2 years earlier. Initially, after his disappearance, he is thought to have drowned. His parents believed he is still in the cave in some inaccessible area. His body has never been found. The state of Florida issued a death certificate in 2013. At Vortex Spring, divers are required to present proof of open water certification and release of liability. The experience required includes 2 months training with 125 dives. Ben did not qualify. The policy had been put in place due to the deaths of 13 divers there during the 1990s. The state of Florida had threatened to ban diving in the area.
I'm seeing him being pulled in. It's this black hole within this diving area. I want to use the word a vortex, but it's not literally like a vortex of energy. It's dark, there's suction, there's water, and it like sucks you in. It's an actual physical thing. So this isn't like an energetic thing. This isn't like a dark demonic thing. This is an actual physical force under the water. And it actually if you get sucked into it, it actually will pull you out and drop you. That feels like it's in a completely different hemisphere or country even. And so then the current starts to pull and pull and pull, and there's absolutely no way to be found. And it sucked the air out of him fast and quickly. So there wasn't a lot of suffering. It was like this, and then he couldn't breathe. And then he was gone.
The cave section starts 300 feet from the cavern at a depth of 115 feet. At the entrance is a sign with the Grim Reaper, warning divers not to continue on. The cave narrows steadily until coming to a makeshift metal gate with chain and padlock at the 300-foot point of entrance. Limestone bedrock at the gate has been mapped over 1,600 feet to a depth of over 300, but the full extent of the cave is unknown. At many points, the passage narrows so much that divers have to remove their tanks to pass through. When sheriffs arrived, they sealed off the area. There were no signs of a struggle at Ben's truck. It was locked. His wallet with over $1,100 and his cell phone were inside. Also found was a dive map showing that he had explored the cave. At the beach house, officers found his dog, a rescue named Spooner, who had not been fed for 2 days. Based on these things, it was assumed he had likely drowned. Cadaver dogs hid on the water initially. Divers volunteered to search, but the lead investigator is shocked to find that few divers in the area are experienced enough for such a dangerous recovery attempt. No body was found, but they did discover some tanks. Cave divers generally place extra air tanks along their dive route to aid with decompression on the way back. The tanks found had Ben's name on them, but were in poor condition and not at all filled with the right mix of air necessary for the cave. His parents believed Ben would have known better because he had been extensively researching about cave diving. Some people believe the dive shop owner and/or the employees were somehow involved. The owner in particular was known to be violent and died under suspicious circumstances. One theory is that when dive shop employees discovered Ben's body that first day, they may have removed it as a cover-up. This would explain why the cadaver dogs hid on the water. It might also explain the strange tanks in weird positions discovered in the cave. Another theory was that Ben staged the disappearance himself to escape his troubled past, his divorce, failed business, and recent trauma from having discovered the body of his younger brother Paul. But the family, including Ben's girlfriend, insist he was in good spirits and looking to the future, that he would never have intentionally left his dog alone, and that he never would have put his family through another loss so soon after his brother's death.
I feel like there was interference with those oxygen tanks that were found with his name on it. That feels like it was planted there after the fact, and I'm not sure why. It feels like it may have been done out of fear. But they did not dispose of his body. There was no foul play, although I do feel like there's a man that was in charge at the time, and I feel like it's like he didn't need to cover something up, but he was so panicked and so freaked out that he started to cover something up that didn't really need to be covered up. He didn't kill Ben, and nobody maliciously did, and nobody set him up, and no one wanted this to happen. People got scared after he disappeared, and they panicked and did dumb things, but they didn't ultimately have anything to do with his death.
By Sunday, August 22nd, no other signs of Ben had been discovered. Ed Sorensen, a veteran cave diver and recovery specialist, was called in from the Bahamas. He arrived the next day and made 3 separate dives looking for Ben. By his account, he went 1,700 feet into the cave, 200 feet farther than the sections Ben had mapped, but he found nothing. He in fact said that the area that far in was so pristine, he didn't believe anyone had been there, adding that it was so narrow, anyone's passage would have left marks or disturbance of some kind. He stated that he didn't believe Ben was in the cave. The McDaniel family agreed to put up $54,000 to cover the cost of replacing a remotely operated underwater vehicle for searching should it get lost. It, too, was unable to go farther than the divers had searched. 16 divers spent 36 straight days looking for his body with no results.
He's on the other side of something, is what they keep showing me. He's on the other side of something. And that something for me feels like to articulate it, to interpret it, they keep telling me it's like 2 different countries. You're here and you're here. And the date line is in there somehow. And so, and when I was talking about him being sucked in, it pulls, like there's this force, this tunneled force that it just pulls you and drops you off somewhere else. And I don't know that anyone knows that exists within these caves, because how you can't really get to that. And it's this force that's stronger than anyone could ever survive it, to discover it. But for the sake of the family, there wasn't suffering, and it was as if there was like a gasp for air, and then he was gone.
Frustrated, the family offered a reward of $10,000, insinuating that the divers had not been brave enough to search thoroughly, which naturally alienated divers involved with the case. By March, they raised the reward to $30,000. A diver from Mississippi named Larry Higginbotham went in searching for Ben, but died in the cave. His body was found the following day. The reward was rescinded. A hotline tip established had received no calls at all. The swamps surrounding the area were searched by helicopter. Cadaver dogs searched the woods. Over the next few months, tests showed no sign of increase of bacteria in the water to indicate a decomposing body. By 2011, and no further leads, the family suggests foul play. They hire an investigator. In March of 2012, they hire cadaver dogs to search the spring again, but with no results. Ben had always loved adventure. He became an open water diver at age 14. In relocating to Florida, he had rediscovered that passion. Cave diving likely presented a unique opportunity to reestablish his own way forward. His disappearance rocked the diving community. The documentary, called Ben's Vortex, was produced by one of the industry's most respected female divers and her husband. Their motive was to film the cave for Ben's parents to provide closure. But after reading his logs, she realized he had made at least one dive to its furthest recesses. She then concluded that it was quite possible his body might still be in the cave. One of the more profound comments by a new diver in an online community forum was that Ben's story had convinced them never to dive alone, crediting Ben with possibly saving their life and saving their family such a loss.
Yeah, he didn't mean for it to go the way it did. He said sometimes he doesn't make good choices. And he just didn't. It was just kind of a string of bad choices combined with really wanting to be able to, I want to say, like, prove himself, but also prove that he was onto something. And it wasn't anything mysterious or it wasn't anything people wouldn't want him to talk about. It was what he was onto was, it feels like it could be what he was onto was similar to what killed him, which was these other almost like openings that I was referencing earlier that take you to other parts of the world, but there's no way that you can experience that and survive it with the equipment we have today. And he wasn't trying to do some Herculean feat. He wanted to just show that this was here, or this was a possibility, or that this existed, and then be able to talk about it further. And he did not kill himself. He was not, his family's right. He was not, that was not his intention. His intention was, he thought that if he was able to successfully do this dive, there was a goal that he had. It was as if, I don't know if it was like a book, or he wanted to share some sort of information that he got from going down there, but he had a means to an end to what he was doing. He was planning this dive because there was something down there, something there that he had a story on, or had information on, or had a perspective on that hadn't been talked about before, that hadn't been done before. And he really thought that it would almost relaunch something for him, like start something new for him. He was emotionally influenced and affected by the struggles in his life, which is why he wasn't fully prepared to do this dive and in that state. And so really that was not only A, is this a dangerous dive, but B, he was not in an emotional state to do the dive, which is what led people to think he may have been suicidal. He was not. That's had nothing to do with it. This was just poor timing. Why he's telling me there was something down there that he thought he could write about or talk about. He knew something, which is why he was so desperate to get down there. And there was that combination of emotionally desperate to kind of revive his purpose, but also combined with this knowing or this awareness, or maybe he was studying something and he knew that something was there that people hadn't talked about yet, or really did much research on, and he wanted to be the one to do that.
Vortex Spring continues to draw divers with its beauty and mystery. What we've discovered is that Ben McDaniel had found a new purpose. He didn't pursue it in the safest way, and it cost him, but he didn't fall victim to foul play or purposely try to escape his life. Maryam has no previous knowledge of the details and events of each case. The name Vortex Spring wasn't mentioned before her reading, yet that description came almost immediately. She also hit on the fact that Ben's body was in a separate area, a possibility touched on by other divers in a documentary about Ben's disappearance in regard to a farther reach of the cave known as the fissure, originally considered to be too narrow for Ben to have entered. Join us each episode as True Crime Psychic Eye takes a unique look at unsolved mysteries.